Are big budgets and flashy graphics really what make a game great? Today, we're diving into Tyrant's Realm, a retro-inspired roguelike that asks the same question. Let's see if this PS1-style adventure is worth your time. The gaming industry today faces a truth many of us have known all along. Big budgets and shiny graphics don't necessarily make good games. This should be obvious. Yet time and again, we see AAA games with bloated budgets flop and nearly sink entire companies. These days, I find myself more excited about pixel art games or titles with an older aesthetic. Not because I'm nostalgic for those visuals, though that plays a small part, but because some of the best games of the last decade resemble ones you could play on a PSP or even a Game Boy Advance. Before we dive in, a quick note. This review copy of Tyrant's Realm was generously provided by the publisher. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Now, let's get started. From the moment I saw Tyrant's Realm, I was intrigued. The game's opening pitch was simple. This looks like a PS1 game. That was enough to hook me. But does it deliver beyond the retro aesthetic? Let's break it down. When it comes to story, Tyrant's Realm keeps things as straightforward as possible. You're a hero in a realm ruled by a tyrant, and your mission is to take them down. There's no hidden lore or complex world building to unravel. It's a tale as old as time. What you see is what you get. While the simplicity has its charm, it might leave some players wanting more narrative depth. As for gameplay, at first glance, Tyrant's Realm seems to wear its Soulslike influences on its sleeve. The dodge roll, stamina bar, parry system, and even the lengthy healing animations are all present and accounted for. The combat is responsive and satisfying, and I never felt like the controls let me down. However, the game doesn't quite go all the way with its Souls-like elements. For example, sneaking up on enemies doesn't grant you a satisfying backstab. Just a free hit if you're lucky enough to bypass their hyper-aware AI. The lack of strategic enemy patterns or environmental interaction also stands out. Most battles boil down to learning parry timing or circling enemies until they whiff an attack. To offset this simplicity, the game relies heavily on ambushes. Expect to be jumped frequently, whether by enemies tucked away in corners or through 2v1 encounters. Despite this, the difficulty never feels overwhelming. In fact, seasoned Souls-like players might find it a bit too easy, while newcomers will likely appreciate the more accessible challenge. Boss fights are enjoyable overall, though the first one is notably less engaging compared to the rest. What truly sets Tyrant's Realm apart is its roguelike core. Progression revolves around collecting coins to unlock new weapons and armor, transforming seemingly impossible runs into manageable challenges as you gear up, with options ranging from daggers to scythes, dual swords, and even katanas. There's plenty of room to experiment. Personally, I favored the fists, short range but lightning fast and perfect for melting health bars once you master movement. The armor system deserves special mention. Some sets offer basic defense boosts, while others provide unique perks like poison attacks or shield charges. These mechanics encourage creative builds, helping to keep runs fresh. My only critique here is that this level of variety doesn't extend to weapons and shields, which could have further enhanced the experience. Visually, the game delivers on its promise of a PS1-inspired aesthetic. Environments are vibrant and distinct, though enemies occasionally blend into the background, leading to cheap hits. While regular enemies and the player character are serviceable in design, the bosses clearly receive the most attention and stand out as the visual highlights. Procedural generation, a staple of roguelikes, is present but somewhat limited. After just a few hours, you'll likely recognize the same rooms and layouts repeating. Fortunately, levels are short enough to avoid becoming tedious, taking only a few minutes to clear. On the technical side, the game runs smoothly even on max settings, and the Steam Deck handles it at the 90 FPS cap with minor tweaks. Just one tip, avoid the CRT filter. It's poorly implemented and makes the game harder to look at. Audio design, unfortunately, is a mixed bag. The music is largely forgettable, and the sound effects are inconsistent. Footsteps are distractingly loud, while monster grunts and ambient noises are more polished. Strangely, equipping certain armor sets can quiet your footsteps, An odd but welcome reprieve. While the audio doesn't ruin the experience, it doesn't elevate it either. Tyrant's Realm may not redefine the roguelike or Soulslike genres, but it's a solid and enjoyable entry. Its simplicity makes it a great starting point for newcomers, while its retro charm will appeal to fans of classic aesthetics. Experienced roguelike players might find it a bit basic, but for a quick, satisfying adventure, it's worth checking out, especially on handheld gaming PCs. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Are you excited to try Tyrant's Realm? Or do you prefer games with cutting-edge visuals? Thanks again to the publisher for providing this review copy. And as always, may your adventures in life be filled with epic quests and legendary victories.